Minneapolis City.
Post goals! What about that?
The People's Pitch Podcast, brought to you by Summit Brewing Company.
Hello there, friends. Has the holiday fever hit you yet? Yes. I'm your gracious host, Nate, and once again, I am blessed, #blessed, to entertain those who can tolerate me on the airwaves on another episode of the People's Pitch Podcast, the official podcast of your Minneapolis City Soccer Club. Alongside me, as always, the soccer elf on the shelf, keeping me honest on a weekly basis, is the John Bisworm. John, how are things? And have you had your fill of instigating all of the garbage teams on Twitter after last week's big announcement?
I mean, things are good, Nate. No, I haven't had my fill. I'm like a trucker on a bunch of amphetamines. I just won't sleep. I just constantly go with them. But it's really funny you made the elf on the shelf comment, because I'm currently in the process of, or I was in the process of finding a white elephant gift for work. And in my search, I found the Jewish alternative to Elf on the Shelf.
What is a Jewish elf on the shelf?
It's called the Mensch on a Bench.
No! Mensch on a bench.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep, and then there's an alternative for female Jews called Hanukkah Hannah, the Hanukkah hero. And
okay.
Yeah, so we have one elf. They have the Mensch and then the hero of Hanukkah, Hannah. So that's pretty awesome. But anyways, yes, I'm.
So did you buy it?
I did not buy it.
I
didn't know how that would go over, seeing that I work for a Irish Catholic. So I figured maybe let that one slide this year.
And the creative director's a practicing Muslim.
Yeah, right, exactly. So I figured play the room.
Yep.
You know, speak to your audience, and I went with an alternative, which I can't disclose in case anyone's listening, but I will tell you what I got in a future episode.
Oh, okay, can't wait. So, John, obviously with Christmas parties and all that, the holidays, they are upon us, and I tell you what, have we got a holiday special for the ages for our listeners? It's going to be like It's a Wonderful Life and the Ewok holiday special all rolled into one.
Of course you have a Star Wars reference, nerd.
Yep. There is no Ewok holiday special, but I wish there was. Soccer's a gift, John. We say it all the time. And we are going to celebrate gifts and giving for the next few minutes, the next hour or so. We're going to talk about the gift that keeps on giving, the notable things that are going on in the aftermath of our announcement that we're joining the NPSL next year. And because soccer is a gift, we're going to talk about our favorite gifts from our first year as a team. What gifts were given, what gifts were received this past year that made the list. You'll have to find out later. And, of course, we're going to be stuffing your stockings with the gift of Steve. Steve is in the studio talking to John, our favorite Ian Smith.
So, Nate, as we all know, we totally broke the internet a bit when we announced that we'd be moving from the PLA to the NPSL. So what kind of stood out as far as reactions were concerned for you before I kind of get into my own stuff?
Yeah, so we had an interesting. You of course knew ahead of time, and the listener should know that I did too, because we had to record that podcast the night before. So once the news came down and we threw that episode together, I really enjoyed watching the Twitter chatter leading up to the announcement, like just logging on my tweet deck at work and watching my feed. It was like watching a herd of nervous antelope on like a nature special. Like there's the anticipatory shot of them all kind of by the watering hole, and one or two would have their ears up and they'd be looking behind the trees, but it's like the wrong trees because the lion's like right behind them the whole time. Like they knew that shit was gonna go down, but no one on Twitter was really know when the lion was gonna strike or which antelope he would get. It really gave me a good insight into the world of speculative sports journalism. Yeah. Because I think all day there were just all these random blogs that would be posting all these updates. Sources say, all this, and it was all so far off base.
See, I kind of like thought something similar, but instead of Antelope, it was just the comic book guy from The Simpsons, like waiting for like the leaked script of the next, like action hero movie to come out, and like just like knowing what was coming down, just seeing how just ridiculous some of these people were and what they were saying, and like who are your sources? Like come on, really? Like,
well, I think that like throughout the day, even by like 10 or 11 a.m. pretty much every team in the region had been listed as either joining the PLA, leaving the PLA for the NPSL, or in talks with USL. All these things, like all these teams that didn't exist yet, were being announced, and people were like who the Med City team? Everyone was like, "What's this? Is this the new PLA team? Is this the new NPSL team?" Nobody had any information, and it was hilarious to watch. And already knowing what was going on, I kind of felt like a member of the Illuminati, like just like watching all of the plebes just kind of go about their business while I was in my ivory Twitter tower.
It was just funny overall, just like like I can't speak for everyone else, but it's like, go back to work, like come on, like of course I was watching it and so were you, but it's just like, don't you have anything better to do than to sit around and speculate whether a 4th division U.S. soccer team is moving divisions? Like, come on, guys. Like, but anyways, the buzz was high.
Buzz was high, and I think it also showed that the league that we're joining really has some catching up to do when it comes to their Twitter game, because when the announcement was made and we started tweeting, it just got real ugly real fast.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what about you, man? What stood out to you?
Two things, definitely twofold. The first one is haters gonna hate, man. They hate us because they ain't us. Yep. People went right after us, and I think it kind of was a culmination of a few things. People pick on us because they want to be us, I think, and it's not like trying to be like, super conceited about it, but it's like, there's a group of individuals that have started something that's our own. We have simple rules. People see that we have a ton of fun in what we do, whether it be on Twitter or they come to a match, which we'll talk about later. And we don't care what everyone else thinks.
Yeah.
And they don't have that. So sports, as we know, are like so boring. Like, look at the Twitter feed, or even like go to like a professional sporting event. It's like, oh, there's a t-shirt cannon. Yay. Like that's the cool thing. It's just like there's some intern behind a desk, like thinking up of ways that they can excite people about a team. And you're like, it's just a game. Like, have fun, like watching and playing the game. And we take things obviously way over the top. We broke that mold and we attack people on Twitter. We can dish it out as much as we can take it. We wear pink jerseys. We started a throwback program in our first year, which was our number one selling thing of all time, if you can call that, in 1 year. We showed that if you have your own voice and you offer this level of transparency, you will attract those that are like-minded and have a real blast doing it. And I think people are a little jealous because of that. The second thing I think is U.S. soccer is weird and full of like weird people, especially in like the lower tier atmosphere. They all think they have this like golden ticket of like how things should be done. And let's face it, there is no script to follow. We've talked about it multiple times. Like, we didn't even know like how much it was going to cost to like do this, or we didn't know like what we should, who's going to do the shirt laundry, and, like how many interns do we need? Like, oh my God, we need a ticket counter, like things that we didn't think about, so these people have this like perceived notion of what it takes to be a player in this game at this level. And it's one that we're told kind of from the top down as a recipe for success, but then we're like fighting that recipe. So it's like, we just made it our own and took this weird kind of like Wild West, like we talk about, thing, and just we're like, all right, you know what? You're going to do your thing and we're going to do our thing, and we're going to be like perfectly happy with it. And like us or not, like you're more than welcome to join us, become a member, have a voice, or just kind of piss off and let us do our thing,
Well, it's something that's you're right, that it's something so strange to people. It's something so foreign to them. Even, as an example, as a metaphor to the whole thing, was our choice of our logo. That there were so many nerds on the internet who were just like, man, it's not a traditional crest, and where's the shield, and where's, like,
There's
you
no
don't need
bird.
you don't need a quartered shield with a goddamn bird on it and a sword and some sort of a flower at the bottom. Like, it's just soccer. Like, have fun. That's why I love that team in Delaware, Bear Fight FC.
Yeah.
Like, they're like another soccer team that just gives zero fucks. That is just gonna, like, you know what? We just want to play and we want to have fun and we want to, we're born from a group of fans, and that's some people just don't get that. They think that it all has to be so old and stuffy and so steeped in tradition, like like every other club across the pond.
Right, and so I think that it's like, take what we've done and replicate it, make it your own. If it's the script that you want, or come up with your own playbook. Like, just do your own thing and stop being a freaking lemming. Like. It baffles me. It's like, I had a conversation today with some people close to the club, and I was just like, what price do we pay for being honest and just like not caring? And it's like, the price that we pay for that is popularity. It's like, people like us. They're like,
yeah,
and it's a simple thing. It's like, we like all the GIFs you put on Twitter. That has nothing to do with how many goals we're scoring against some team or how successful we are,
No, it's on some levels we are a viral success first and a success on the field second.
Right.
Which I think is funny, and like we said, is going to really take the NPSL by storm, because our Twitter situation is so off the charts compared to them.
Right. And we'll get into a little bit of that when we talk about our gifts.
Yeah, later. So speaking of gifts, man, I've been wrapping my presents for my family. I'm sure you have too.
No,
and
haven't done any.
Nope. Oh, come on. You got to catch up. You only got a few days.
I'll be all right.
But just you and I, and planning the show, we've been thinking about how this last year has really been a gift, and it got me thinking about how many amazing things we were #blessed to have witnessed and done. So I want to start with you. What are your favorite gifts that we have gotten this last year?
Well, it would be weird if I had an even number, so I'm going to go with an odd number, and I'm going to go with three things. And we have a lot to be thankful for, and the three things that we received when they were unwrapped that really stuck with me throughout the year, and will continue to stick with me. And I think the first one is the introduction of the soccer Yoda. When we were getting this thing off the ground, our head coach at the time, Coach Kicker, introduced me to a person whom he said this guy is the right type of person to latch onto. He's the person who gets the game at a high level, but has an attitude that's like super infectious. And that person was associate head coach Jeremy Iwaskovic. Definitely got that right, I think. But Coach Jeremy, we joke about his funny over the top positivity, and just being like, soccer's weird and things are going to happen, but we have to embrace it and it's going to be awesome. Everyone hop on board. I'm going to drive us to the next thing, and you're just like, yeah, what that guy said. And then we rally around this notion of soccer is a gift. We've said it so many times. But how true is that, right? Like, none of this would have ever happened without a game. The relationships we made as a supporter-owned soccer club, the doors that it opened for all of us within the game, and the opportunity for us that afforded us to build something of our own. And that simple statement to me has been like this huge first-year North Star that I like constantly go back to. Like, and a player will text me and say like, what, I can't wait to get into training in January, and then finish that with signing off with the emojis of soccer and a present. It's like it's like our thing. It's like our rallying cry. Like, soccer's a gift. We're a bunch of soccer weirdos, and we just love the game. So we definitely have to thank Coach Jeremy for that one, and it's something that I think that will stick to us moving forward. The second thing is the citizens, our supporters group, which truly were a gift. If you look at like their conception, it kind of fell into our lap. They started on their own out of just curiosity of this thing we were doing, and they gave us a voice. And it wasn't a scripted voice like some supporters groups are, where you're like, this is what you have to say and this is what you can't say. Yeah, I mean, we talked about how we had our bumps in the road, like with our teachable moments, back in the day. That seems like forever ago, right?
Yeah.
But we didn't tell them, like, don't be you. Be yourselves and make this your own thing. And when I did my exit interviews with the players, I'm hard pressed to find one of them that didn't consistently say of the major takeaways from the year was how these people who didn't know them from gym off the street sang songs about them, took pictures with them after the game, pat them on the back after a win, and console them after a loss, and would even point them out in public and treat them like a local celebrity, like, hey, it's AJ. Like, what's up, man? How you doing? And I'm sure I can only imagine what AJ was thinking in his mind, like, who the hell is this guy or girl? But the support just showed that what can be given by the fans to the players was kind of in their own crazy way, like, really important to these guys, and that it helped them on the field. And I thought that was pretty interesting thing, and another gift that I think that we gave to our individual players. And then the third thing, break out the Kleenex box, folks. But our podcasts, like, weekly, we got a chance to sit down and digest what happened the week prior, look forward to the week ahead, and just to talk soccer. And, like, we made it our own thing. You can listen to, like, so many podcasts about soccer all over the internet, and you can find one that's speaks to you or the team that you support, and half of them are, like, totally done on a budget, and, like, you and I are online, like, researching the best microphone to use, and and, like, for me, starting this and inviting you to be part of it with me, it was awesome because, like, I could sit and talk about soccer all day, and I have my own unique perspective of it, but it gives me a chance to, like, show you a totally different side of soccer and to, like, answer your questions and, like, explain to you, like, what this might mean and help educate you so that you can go educate someone else on it, and just kind of spread that, throughout our little soccer community and the connections we have, and even as simple as, like, your interactions with, you're going with Olin to his soccer stuff. Like, I hope that you feel like, look at that boner over there. He has no idea what he's talking about. I maybe used to be that boner, but now I'm not that boner. I'm educated. And well, it's all the best part, the podcast.
Yeah. And the best part about it is, I think, like, that learning relationship and that kind of give and take and that discussion that's always occurring, like, isn't just for my sake. Like, everyone else that's along for the ride can also educate themselves through that process. Is, if you don't know a whole ton about what the what the strategies would be on the field, or maybe you don't know a ton about how about the PLA in general, or now the NPSL. Well, we're gonna get you there one way or the other, whether it's Jon explaining it to me or it's us all learning in one boat together.
Yeah, and it's kind of another thing to show that, like, we've built this thing our own way, and we're totally okay with being critical of ourselves, of our organization, of our players, our supporters, the league we're in, the opponents we play against. Like, we don't really care. We're just gonna say what we want to say.
Yeah. So, I also have three things. Funny how that works out. But I think, so much of this last year has felt like has been a great gift. But really, one of the things I want to touch on is that Minneapolis City has really given me a stronger connection to my community, to Minneapolis. I know I've lived in Minneapolis probably. I can't even. Well, I grew up in the area. I've lived in Minneapolis for probably 10 to 12 years. Minneapolis proper, and it really, like, this real pride in a local team connects me to the community as a whole in a way that I hadn't really experienced before. mostly, you get to know so many awesome fans at the games. You get to know the players and the local kids that grew up around here and that went to the high school just down the road, and their parents, and they're excited to come. And it's all just by virtue of being a jerk with a mic, which is pretty great. Like Minneapolis is a really big city, but Minneapolis City feels like a neighborhood team, and it's from someone who's lived in Uptown and lived in Northeast and lived in North, that it really doesn't. It's the first time I've really felt like the whole city, even the whole metro area, is one big neighborhood. Like so many cutesy little designers like work their whole careers to like bottle up this pride that we feel about Minneapolis and about the area, and try to put it on like a cute little t-shirt with a couple of crossed oars and maybe like a little deer or something. And we do it with just like 4 letters and a crow. And, I can wear my Minneapolis City t-shirt out and just know that like there's something behind this that's not just like a graphic element or some sort of a design element. It's like there's a real connection to where I live, and it really enriches my life here in Minneapolis, which I'm grateful for.
Well, I think the thing that I can sprinkle on top of that I saw with a sense of community too is that like you talked about like wearing your shirt out on the town and like kind of flying your colors like we're a biker gang or something, like the Sons of Anarchy,
Uh-huh.
But you see someone else wearing like some city gear and you're like, hey, what's up, man? Or hey, how's it going, lady? Like you strike up a conversation with them and you're like, oh, you're a City fan, and you either get the answer of like, no, I just bought a cool t-shirt because I like Minneapolis. Or you get like, yeah, like, I'm a season ticket holder and like, I didn't really know what to expect, but like, it's been great. Or like, my kid plays for the team and you're like, oh, which one? And, you're right. That sense of community, and I think we kind of all rally around it, and it's only been in the first year, and like it can only get stronger, and we hope it gets stronger so that we have more people come to our games. But you're right. It's that pride that people have.
So the second thing I wanted to say that I feel is a gift are these great experiences that we've had, both myself and Mindy, traveling to Milwaukee and Cedar Rapids, and then of course my trip to Madison with you, and seeing how soccer comes to life on game day, and being able to kind of bring our unique brand of fandom throughout the Midwest, but also that Minneapolis City was a great centerpiece to some really fun times away from home, being able to kind of get out and spend time with you as my friend, or spend time with Mindy as my fiance, and I think that's been really great, and it's something that you don't just kind of stumble upon. You usually as a couple have to really try to cultivate that and find like, plan your weekend away, when really we're just like, hey, fuck it, let's just go and watch some soccer in the middle of nowhere, Iowa. And it turned out to be a pretty fun trip, or that's like bro weekend trips that you take that like you gotta, like you said, you can't get together with your boys from college, but maybe once a year.
Right.
And here we are lucky that we can just like jump in a car and head to Madison and have a great time with a bunch of idiots.
Just 2 dudes wearing pink during Pride weekend.
Listening to Fish.
Listening to Fish. Can't script a better story.
And of course the podcast, you had to steal my answer, but it's really given me, I feel like it's given me a really great opportunity to develop as a soccer fan, as of course as a great soccer mind. And it's really gotten me way more excited about the game than really any number of years watching, BPL on NBC Sports or playing FIFA could. And really, I wouldn't be here without you, John. And that's where you cue the Kleenex. Like, it's really, really appreciate that you asked me to join you on this podcast, as goofy and weird and sometimes slapdash as it is. I think, it seems like people really respond to it, and hopefully people like it. And if not, it's fine with me, because I'm just sitting here talking to him. I'm just a jerk with a mic.
It's funny, if you remember back to like when we kind of started all this, as far as the podcast goes, is like I just walk into, Chairman Dan's office, spoiler alert, we work together in real life. And I was like, hey man, we should start a podcast. And he's like, well, who's going to do it? And he's just like super stressed out about like a field we need to rent.
Yeah, she's thinking like, shit, what else do I have to do?
And I was like, we should do a podcast. He's like, yeah, that'd be a great idea. Who's going to do it? And I was like, well, I'm going to do it. And he's like, okay, well, like, who are you going to do it with? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm like, what about Nate Morales? And he's like, does Nate know anything about soccer? I'm like,
hey, I won our fantasy soccer league.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I'm sure he does. Let me talk to him. And then I remember I contacted you. I was like, hey, I'm thinking about doing a podcast for City, because you had already, we had already talked, and you were like, yeah, like, I think I'm going to come out, and it'd be a great thing for the family. And I was like, yeah, it'd be awesome. Thanks. Buy a ticket. And then to be like, hey, you want to do this podcast with me? And then you're like, yeah, that'd be fun. Like, what do we need to do? And then I go home and I'm like sending you text pictures of microphones and like,
yeah, like, shit, what do we need to do?
Which is like everything that we do. It's like, oh, good idea. How do we do that?
Yep.
But it's just funny how like, I went down memory lane. I'm not going to lie. And I listened to a couple of our first episodes and I was like, how far we've come. We have like a sweet intro and we have a house band and, it's like a couple months ago, this was like just me going into Dan's office and bugging him about something that he didn't give two shits about. And now it's like, who you having on the podcast this week? When's it going to be out? When can I start promoting it? And it's now like our thing, and we get like 1,500 people listening to our show through iTunes and through downloading directly on our website on average, throughout so far. That's a lot of people, and it's awesome. And I can only think back to that moment of like, great, how are we going to do this?
Well, and this might be in bad form, but I think we gave a lot of great gifts to this world last year as well. So I wanted to, the obvious thing as we're talking about being the gift of a kick-ass podcast about a kick-ass supporter-owned team. But what other gifts did City give to the world that you're really pumped about this year?
Well, I have 3 of them. Weird.
Couldn't have planned it better.
So the first one, for sure, is, one on the list is NPSL, you are welcome for us elevating your Twitter game. I mean, it's not good. The league itself couldn't have asked for a better compliment to the Detroit City crazy band of diehard fans that are like super ultra than to have us, who's like maybe a little bit of an instigator, or sometimes a full-blown instigator, but also someone who can back it up and who can take it, and it's like, okay, like we're going to have this like one-to-one connection directly with the people that we either play against or that we could potentially play against. And it's like, screw it. We're just going to do it, So you're welcome for that. But in all seriousness, we're giving the MPSL something in accepting us into their community, that they'll either be really proud of aligning themselves with us, or they're going to be like the slightly disappointed and embarrassed parent who just shakes their head and when we pull our antics and kind of regret the decision. Like what do we get ourselves into?
Yeah, well, you know what? I think they should be proud to align themselves with us, because when you think about all the expansion they're doing this year for this next year, and all the teams are kind of bringing, into their fold, that how many of those teams are really going to elevate their brand or are really going to get the name out of what NPSL is about and really be a shining example, or any example really, for them to kind of point at and say, hey, see, we're doing something great in all corners of the country. They can point to Detroit, maybe they can point to Cincinnati, but when it's like, even look at this crazy personality that we have in Minneapolis, and to your point about how the Twitter game is poor, and we've kind of talked about this, like the best part about this last week and kind of getting to know the other teams on Twitter is that like you've got a team like Eris in lacrosse that hasn't tweeted in like 2 years, and you've got hashtag Mitch and the guys like beating down their door for just some response, like please play with us. And then you've got like the super nice guys in VSLT who are like tweeting in broken English, like offering to make everyone tacos at the games, which I think is, you can't argue with that. And then Duluth is like tweeting out these like weak ass insults to everyone, like there's some angry Mormon who like never learned how to rip on anyone. I think the the environment is ripe for us to kind of step in and really show everyone what's up.
Yeah, so I guess overall, to sum that up, you're welcome, MPSL. You know, we're here for you as long as you'll have us. The second thing I have, you know, it sounds a little cliche, but the players, we gave these guys the opportunity to play at an elevated level, which I think was 1A on our mission list when we started things. Just slightly ahead of the community focused thing, because we needed to have something for the community to rally around. But for the college guys, we created a space for them to kind of keep sharp or prepare for a college season. And then for the older guys, we really gave them a shot at keeping the game they used to play at a high level in their life. And with this mix, we also gave these guys a chance to live what we've called the professionally amateur lifestyle. And I think it's really important, to note that, we created this thing and without the guys we've brought in, like, we don't have anyone on our roster who you're like, man, I can't stand that guy. Or, that guy's a great player, but, any one of things, his attitude's poor, or, he's not a good teammate. We've mixed these different guys at different stages of their life in the game and out of the game together. And it's been a really easy cohesion. Like, it's like Flex Seal.
Well, you've been watching too many Menards commercials, man.
I mean,
what are you even talking about?
Flex Seal, you can spray it on a screen door and create a boat out of it. Like
you can paint it on your chair and
you're right.
Float down the river. What?
Yep, you can dip your tools in it and you have a nice rubbery grip. We have a very good bond with these guys, is I guess what I'm saying. So the last thing I have, and we talked a little bit about it in our bro trip, but is our 3-2 win at Madison. And it starts off the day with just shit hitting the fan, with our coach unable to make it last minute. 9 guys committed to going. It was a busy weekend for guys, and it wasn't like people like completely just bailed on us, but it was more so like guys had other commitments. We band together. We pull Sam Forsgren, off the tarmac at MSP International, coming from the Euros, who hasn't even played a minute with us. Pull him off, ends up scoring 2 goals and setting up the third. To win, to beat these guys. We pissed them off at our home game by it, and they were total dicks about it to us by a total miscommunication with the park and rec department that we were going to have a game that day. So they had to like change at the Y and like walk down like 3 blocks of the stadium. And we didn't have, the concessions weren't open. And it's like,
yeah, because the shed wasn't open.
The shed's not open. And it's just like everything that could have gone wrong by like simple miscommunication did when those guys were in a town, and it pissed them off. But they gave us an apology, and we took that apology when we were there. But their captain came over to us and apologized for how they acted. And then we just completely embarrassed them with a shorthanded team at their home field. No better way to be like, oh, thanks for the apology. We're going to kick your ass with the 11 players we brought. And then, to top it all off, the fans that traveled got like an edge of their seat performance. Like, I think probably one of the most exciting games that we had all year. Back and forth, we score, they score 2, they score again, they tie it up, we come back and we win it, close to the death. And then you have, the list kind of goes on and on. A couple more things, and I promise I'll stop talking about it. But you sat on the bench with us, with Jeremy and I, drinking beer, like heckling the players on the other team. And then we have like Dan, who's our chairman and our emergency like 35-year-old super sub, who like may have to go in and play like up top or like center back, or if
could be anywhere.
If God forbid the challenge that Matt Elder took like takes him down, Dan goes in and has to play in goal and says to us like, I'm ready to go in and stop a penalty. Like what was that? And then suck it, Madison, and the crypt keeper you call the head coach. Have fun at the bottom of the table again next year. But seriously, for reals, awesome beer garden. I encourage anyone who's listening to take up a game in Madison. It's a cool city to visit. Their team may suck. Their coach may be weird and old, but their beer garden's awesome.
Yeah, there's that nice little area kind of where the end zone is, really, in that stadium, that they just set up a sweet platform and a nice bar, and they just served local brews, which was impressive.
Yeah, it was. But
can't be mad at that.
Either way, 3-2 win to the good guys.
Yeah, we'll take it. That is a gift. So, people have told me that I'm a giver, that's for sure. So I'm going to talk about my favorite gifts that we have given to the planet. And the first of these is kind of goes back to day one, almost day one of the podcast for sure, when we talked to Trent. And I think that one of the gifts that we've given to the soccer world is some real mind-blowing design and branding. I mean, when we had Trent on, onwards, like the logo has turned heads, and we really never stopped snapping those necks with shirts, cool graphics, kits, scarves. And then, you add in Dustin and his work with Talisman Caps, coming to the games and kind of, partnering with us for some sweet merch and some sweet designs. And suddenly we are really a hotbed of sports design here. And no matter what some dude named, Chris Creamer thinks, or whatever his name is, like
unfortunate name. Like, so seriously, like, go a different route and like make up a fake name.
Just change the spelling or something. But
it's like if your last name's Boner, just change it.
And I think that, like, if we had some truly ugly shit, the response to our merchandise would be much different than it is. And I think people get the logo. They, at least here, they get the fact that we're kind of that we started as kind of an underground punk rock soccer movement, and they accept it for what it is. They're not, like I said, we're not a bunch of soccer geeks trying to emulate some classical crest from Midlothian, middle of nowhere. So go cream on that, man.
My favorite part about that was when we did have Trent on, and the first, like,
he read the hate mail.
He read the hate mail, and like the first thing was like, it has nothing to do with soccer, and he's like, you idiots, turn it upside down. It's literally a 5-panel patch from a soccer ball. Like, don't be that dense. Like, come on.
Right. It doesn't have to be some medieval coat of arms.
Right.
So the second gift that I feel like we've given is a super fun game day experience that doesn't take itself too seriously. I mean, you and I hang out over there in the shed on the mic, and we're kind of where that starts, and the citizens is where it ends. But when it comes to like taunting players on the mic for fouls, calling out planes flying overhead, asking the citizens to participate, and pointing out people that they can start taunting, screaming about goals scored and cards given out, a Dixie Chicks national anthem. It's all fun as hell. From our perspective and from the game day perspective. Then you add in the food trucks, and you add in the kind of like real loosey-goosey environment where you can shoot the shit with the cop, and you've got the crazy methed out janitor. I mean, everything. I think our game day experience is pretty awesome, and I'm really looking forward to where we can take it next year.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because one of the things that kind of fell off my list, if we would have had 4, I would have put it on, was when I watched the U.S. Amateur Championships online coming out of the Bavarian Club, and we went there. It was kind of like we brought the energy, like they, we had this notion of what a game day experience should be, and then I'm watching online their game, and they have like intro music, and they have like an announcer that's like kind of into the game, and they have like they have all this stuff, and we mentioned on the podcast that it's like, man, that kind of looked and sounded a little familiar. And then I had a brief conversation with their coach, and he's like, because he listens to our podcast, and I'm sure he'll be listening to this one too, but he was like, you're 100% right. Like, we looked at what you guys did, and we're like, this is what we probably should be doing too, and we're hosting this big national tournament. Let's elevate our game. and they did.
Mm-hmm.
And
Good.
and I think the other thing like to mention too is like the crow or the Hell's Bells intro.
Oh yeah.
We start that as a thing, conceived out of the mind of Chairman Hudeman as like the ultimate way to begin a soccer game or even any sort of sporting match. And then we traveled to the Croatians who we had our first experience with that, and they play it for us when we come out of the locker room. It's
That was super cool.
Yeah, so it's like it's catching on. And I think everyone, we talked about it, everyone shouldn't be boring and have this thing of perceived notion. Like, yeah, play the national anthem before the game, but maybe make it the Dixie Chicks. And then thank the Dixie Chicks. Like, have fun.
Not every soccer game needs to be, or local soccer game needs to sound like it's emceed by some guy at the VFW.
Although that would be pretty cool.
Oh, just some old man like, I'm so tired. Give it up for the city. All right, all right. So then the third gift I think we've given is we've really given casual soccer fans or fans that are really only familiar with Minnesota United and how they do things a glimpse into how lower level soccer can be fun, it can be inclusive, and it can be sustainable. Like of all the end of the season articles that I read and that whether it's on the 55-1 or all these other, even like some of the more national blogs, all of them just gushed about our open member communication, about our business model, about the marketing plan, really everything about us, and how open we were about the P&L at the end of the year, and how we're really a model in so many ways for the rest of the country as far as lower level soccer goes, and for us to be in the same conversation as teams like Detroit or teams like Cincinnati after only 1 year is a really, really good sign, especially since our town rules and theirs are true American tire fires.
I don't really know that I have a whole lot to add to that without just completely opening us up to hate mail, which I'm okay with. But speaking of hate mail, I'm sure we didn't cover some things that other people thought were gifts given or gifts received. So hit us up. Our lines of communication are open. What do you think was the top three things that you're thankful for that were gifted by City this year? So Steve is in the house and Nate isn't, so he can go suck it. Nate had to bow out from our regularly scheduled program here for a child's birthday party, which I hope is a party for his own child and he isn't moonlighting as a party clown again. Nobody wants that and nobody needs that. So like we said earlier, we are blessed to have number 4 on the pitch and number 1 in our hearts. Ian Smith is on with us for our holiday episode. Ian, thank you very much for coming. How are things? Happy holidays.
Well, hey, John. Hey, Nate, from wherever you are.
At some weird kid's party, maybe, or his own.
Wherever he is.
Wherever he is, yeah.
Yeah, hey, everyone. Happy to be here. Happy to ride the waves with you guys. So.
Back from school?
Back from school. Just finished finals, so.
Nice. How'd they go? Good?
I think I did all right.
Good. I mean,
I survived.
You prepare and
I
then...
didn't fail.
You didn't fail. That's good.
Fail.
Yeah. Well, you don't look like a guy who fails. All right, so, Mr. Smith, you go by Steve to the city folks,
yeah.
Even though your given name is Ian.
Yes.
I prefer Steve. I think it's got more letters. But have your parents started to call you Steve yet?
Absolutely not.
Do they even know that we call you Steve?
Yes.
Okay, that's good. What do they? How do they feel about it?
I think they don't really care. I think they think it's pretty funny that a different entity, a group of people call me a completely different thing. And I showed them the Steve picture you made for me the other day.
Yeah.
I sent it to them, and they thought it was really funny.
Nice. Now they know what they're getting for Christmas. Just Steve shirts, hats.
So watch out.
we're creating this brand just for your parents.
My dad actually does want a T-shirt, so we have to make that.
I think we know the people who can do that. So tell the listeners how this nickname and the folklore that is Steve kind of started.
I mean, I grew up as a kid in Brazil in the favelas, and in Brazilian culture, everyone just has one name, like Kaká, Ronaldinho, Pele,
Sting, Prince.
And when you grow up, they kind of characterize your name by how you play, your playing style, and it's just boring Steve, so they just call me Steve. Do the simple things well. Everyone needs a Steve.
No,
I'm just kidding, but
I think. That's a very good take on it, that you're not boring, Steve. But there is a story behind it, and I'll kind of fill in the cracks here. Yeah. So during the trial period, we know you were kind of in and out of the DA, and like you were playing with us when you could.
It was
and
at my trial game, I think.
and we had you come in for a trial game, and so I'm sitting on the bench, and there was a gentleman who is no longer with us, or really ever was with us, who was Somalian, and Coach Kicker said, like, Ian, go in for so-and-so. And we weren't really paying attention because we were kind of like cracking jokes, and I was sitting on the bench causing problems as I usually do. And I was like, are you going to go in? And you're like, yeah, like, where am I going? I was like, you're going for that guy. And you're like, well, what's his name? I was like, oh, it's Steve. Clearly his name was like... not Steve.
Actually, it was Muhammad.
I
started calling you Muhammad. That didn't stick.
It didn't stick.
Steve stuck.
Steve. It's so much easier than Muhammad, right? Because you could actually be Steve.
I'm a Steve.
So I said, yeah, his name's Steve, and you looked at me and were like, called him off. I was like, hey, Steve. And the guy was about as confused as we were as to why he was even on trial with us, but. Steve stuck and Mohammed didn't. So that's great. But anyways, tell us about Green Bay Phoenix. Is it a specific Phoenix that's only native to Wisconsin?
I'm not like well versed in like Phoenicians or Phoenix in general, but like, I mean, the only other Phoenix I know is Elon, so it's a pretty unique mascot.
I'd say. I mean, it is a very unique mascot, but all joking aside, people might not know a lot about the program, so tell us a little bit about the program at University of Wisconsin, Green Bay, the Phoenix.
The Phoenix. Recently, the Phoenix this was our best season since 2011. We made the postseason, had a little Horizon League tournament run.
Congratulations.
Which is really fun. As a freshman, kind of pretty cool to come in and do something you haven't done for 5 or 6 years. But before 2011, won the conference in 2009. Went to a national tournament. That was a team with like J.C. Banks and Tony Walls.
Was Whitney on that team?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him.
Might have been. But anyways.
And then 2010, they got runner-up. And then 2011, they went to the semifinals. And then since then, there have been no tournament berth for the Phoenix until 2016 when the young boys came.
When Steve got there.
It's like 12 freshmen or something. It was like 50% of our team was freshmen.
Really? So in a rebuilding process.
Yeah, a rebuilding process, and this was just year one.
Right. And your coach? Tell us a little about your coach.
Coach is named Jeremy Bonomo. We got him from Cincinnati. He was a head assistant at Cincy.
Okay.
And then came to GB to get his first head coaching job. He's like your age, pretty.
Right.
So he's
seasoned.
Young. Yeah, he's a young
seasoned
head coach.
But young head coach.
Yeah, he's a young head coach, and he's ambitious, and he only wants the best for us, and we only want to do as best as we can as well. So it's a good atmosphere.
So has he built like a good culture of like a lot of like-minded guys?
You'll ask the older guys. You can ask Trey. The locker room from when he was a freshman to a senior, he said it's totally different. His freshman year, like, guys wouldn't really talk to each other and such. And then our team, like, before the game, we're doing, like, the header garbage bin challenges. And, like, seniors are best friends with freshmen. And, like, it's just it was a good community. It was a good team. And I think that translated to the pitch because we played nice. We didn't start out great because we're a bunch of young guys.
Yeah.
By the end of the season, we really hit our stride. We were playing good football, and we really melded together as a team.
Right. I mean, I came to see you guys play against Valpo
we had a good game.
And to see as many city guys on one pitch as possible.
Yeah.
So I got to see you and Trey and Matthew. Matthew ended up pulling out with injury. And at that time, Valpo was in first place in the Horizon League, right? And then you guys beat them on a wicked free kick.
Yeah.
It wasn't yours, but...
I won a tackle.
Yep.
Then he took the ball and got fouled. So I'm going to say I started the goal.
That was an assist where I come from. I think too is you chose not to take the kick, right? And you let him take it. You're like, all right, I take them all. So
I take everything else,
Yeah. Corners on the right side.
I had to share for once, and
Steve is a giver. So it's awesome that like your transition between where you were at this summer, being a younger player, coming out of high school and playing with men, then going into Green Bay and being a large freshman class, but having like the veteran guys there and not a lot in between. So it was probably a good transition. So that kind of leads us to the next question. You joined City as one of the youngest players and the youngest captain of any match, which we found out earlier a few podcasts ago. But, you were one of the youngest players, and like Goose, you were able to kind of make an adult-sized impact right away, being a younger guy, especially when we kind of got down the stretch and, minutes got a little greater. And kind of that transition period, I think, was Madison when you got to play the full 90 because we only had 11 guys. I think that was kind of like your coming out party as to like, even though you're in high school, you can be trusted on the field and mix in well. But what about your playing style and your approach found you success with City this summer?
Well, I mean, my playing style, I would say, is like I'm not the fastest, I'm not the strongest. Everyone knows that. I get a lot of shit for that on my college team for being the slowest. But I try and make that up in my head and like how I read the game. Try and play intelligently. And when you move up from the DA level, which is high level, high as you can get when you're a high school age kid, to moving to like a semi-pro level at City, the game's even that much quicker. So being not fast and not that strong, I had to start thinking that much quicker and thinking 2-3 steps ahead, always looking around, have my head on a swivel. And it helped me a lot because when I got to college, it didn't quite seem like such a big transition because I had already had that transition period with City.
So would you say that you were, a little bit, you're mentally a little bit more prepared and physically more prepared than other guys that were coming in that were maybe just playing, under 18 or 19 or whatever?
Yeah, I would say I came in very fit. And I'd say really fit. And I came in pretty sharp because I was playing, day in, day out with City and good matches on the weekends and stuff like that.
Well, and you play a similar position that you played with us in college.
I've never played anywhere else.
That's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Make a living where you can, right?
Yeah, sit in the middle of the center circle and dish it out.
Yeah, right. And go forward more. We've talked about this. We need
you saw me against Valpo. I went forward more.
Yeah, that's another kind of testament to my line of questioning here is that, you came in and you had kind of a specific style that you played at MTA. The listeners of this podcast know from when we've played against MTA that it's like some might find it boring soccer because it's very backwards and side to side, and like all of you guys that come out of the DA from MTA specifically, like very good touch, really smart soccer players, but the moving forward into the attack kind of lacks because it's a lot of don't lose the ball, keep it, when it's okay to take calculated risks. And it was great to see that like you've added that to your game, and it's something that I think you can build off of again this summer with City. We talked a little bit about it, but how playing for City, made you better specifically as far as like collegiate soccer. What were the differences between what you saw at the semi-pro level? I know it's probably faster and stronger, but specifically around like coming into camp and like the type of players that you played with in camp, and like what did you learn from those guys that you saw that were similar to college, and then maybe some differences that you saw from the summer to college?
Well, some of the similarities would be like those older guys that take you under their wing. Our seniors were kind of like your guys like Elder or like Engel, those guys who took me under their wing, Andy, and really like taught me a lot about football and taught a lot about like the little things, the minutia that you don't really like, you can't fix with your touch, or like what are those called? Intangibles. Yes, that's the word. Those things, like those little leadership skills. And I learned those from my seniors at Green Bay, guys like Trey. We had a couple of seniors, a guy named Brandon, who I learned a lot from. Those things that you can't, your coach can't teach you that. Those are things you learn from peers.
Right. And and just playing with them. I mean, they can tell you one thing, but actually like seeing it done.
Like the way they conduct themselves on the pitch and their mannerisms. Like there were a few times in games, like I remember Drake, the ref like talked to me and this guy because we were like jostling at the top of the box like if I could throw in, and like right after that I went and like committed a foul because I grabbed him and like pulled him down, and my seniors just like chewed me out for that. And it's a teachable moment. It's things that they're trying to teach me and like, things to learn, and those are the things like the guys at City would do too. If I remember there was one time I tried to slide tackle someone, and then Elder tells me to like stay on my feet because I need numbers back when we defend. It's just those things that those older guys teach you that experience gets.
Or maybe like instinctually, like at your level where you're playing with everyone your same age, like that tackle might have worked. It would have worked and it was smart, but at a different level where speed and intelligence is higher and skills higher, that it doesn't work. That's good to hear, and it's kind of like we interviewed Goose, who beat you in the fan poll.
It's fine. I'm not mad about it.
I know.
It's okay.
You're not mad. You're just disappointed.
Just disappointed.
But
Steve always takes second fiddle, I guess.
It's okay. Just wait in the wings. Just your position specifically.
I let my feet do the talking.
Right. Quiet feet. But your specific position on the field is one that I played too, and like your best games, like no one really notices what you're doing.
If people notice what you're doing, you're probably doing it wrong.
Unless you score a goal.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Or you like make some like incredible move, but they're probably going to forget that later when someone else scores a goal or you concede a goal. And if you're involved in conceding that goal, then the finger points to you,
Yeah.
and then you have attention again. So you're right. Like it goes back and forth as far as like the highs and lows, and you want to
It's
stay.
kind of a thankless job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
And you take a big pounding in there because you're a slighter individual, but you play bigger than you are because you have to,
Yeah.
especially in that role. You have to set the precedent physically, or people think they can push you over. I'm sure you probably saw that in college too.
Absolutely.
Probably in. Tell us a little bit about training camp. Like what were the kind of tough things that you ran into in training camp?
I didn't have too many like issues in training camps in terms of like getting like murdered when I was on the ball, because I knew right away that it was gonna be fast and these guys are gonna come out to get you. And that nice base I had from Thunder of thinking quickly and moving off the ball, that helped me a lot in camp actually, because I didn't end up getting in too many like physical confrontations. I try not to like fight a lot when I play, in terms of like tackling and getting destroyed, because I'm not gonna win many 50-50s. So that was mostly it. I didn't have too many like eye-opening moments.
That's good. That's good to hear. And
I had other people on my team did, and I learned from that, so I didn't do it myself.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Teachable moments all over
All
the field.
around.
Yeah. So when you went off to Green Bay, you were in a unique position, coming in as a freshman, and you'd already played as a holding midfielder at our level.
Yeah.
In front of your teammate Trey.
Yeah.
How did that experience this summer kind of translate with your partnership with Trey and help break you maybe into the team and find success? Did that help at all?
I mean, yeah, Trey's one of my good friends on campus in terms of like older guys. He really showed me the ropes, I guess, and playing in front of him over the summer, we got familiar with each other. And then this season, when I would play in front of him, he could joystick me, tell me where to go, who to pick up, where to be, and like he's someone I always listen to. Like you hear guys, certain voices on the field, and you kind of ignore them.
Right.
Duncan. And then,
Girth.
and then there would be guys like Trey, who if he says something, he doesn't say too much, but when he says something, it really means something.
You probably should go do it.
Yeah, you should do it because the guy knows what he's talking about.
Right. And he sees what you don't see.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I think playing at City with him really helped a lot, because then he also told the older guys who he's friends with, like, yeah, this guy's legit, he's a pretty good player, and it kind of gave me
kind of an inroad.
An inroad, I guess.
So do you think that helped getting more playing time?
I don't want to say that, because I think ultimately I trained hard and I worked hard, and I think I deserved the minutes I got, but yeah, I think anything helps.
It probably doesn't hurt when your captain says,
Yeah.
this guy's legit and he's new,
Mm-hmm.
and you can see by the work he's done and his the physical fitness he's put into getting prepared for this. He has all that, but I trust him.
Yeah.
Because I know him.
It's a lot.
Versus some other guy coming in and he makes one mistake, you might have a little bit longer of a leash, right? Because he trusts you. So the last question I have before we get into the infamous speed round, which I don't know if you're ready for it.
I don't think I am.
Is what did you tell the guys that you came into Green Bay with about what you did last summer?
Oh, I just told him I played at a semi-pro level, a team called Minneapolis City, played in the PLA, similar to that of like an NPSL or a PDL. Played with Trey. And I think once I say, yeah, I played with Trey, he's our captain, then I'll be like, oh, okay, that's legit.
Right.
I think so that, yet again, Trey's helping me out. But yeah, I just told him it was a great time, run by good people, supported by good people, supporter-owned, doing it the right way.
Perfect. That's all the good things we want to hear.
All the good things.
What would you, this is kind of a 1B to that question. What would you tell a guy in the DA who might be in a situation where that season's going to end and about what we can offer someone in that position that we offered you?
Playing with experienced players. I mean, you go from being the oldest. I thought it was the shit at MTA when I was in 18 because I was the oldest and I was one of the better players. I think you're really good. You start all the time, and then I came to a place like City, and you're not anymore.
Right.
And that's something really valuable that you need to learn. Kind of like get back down the pecking order and dig your feet in and start working again. So I would say that's the kind of experience you don't get at the DA when you're a senior. So for someone going into college, that's really helpful.
Yeah, I think that, from my perspective, we talked previously in the episode about the gifts that we gave as an organization, and I talked about the players.
Yeah.
Because we not only gave the gift of someone like an Elder or a Wexler or an Andy, that high level that they maybe thought had passed, or wasn't attainable, we offered it to them. And then from a guy in your perspective or anyone coming back from college, it was that opportunity to continue to be at a level where you can tell your coaches, you can tell your teammates, this is like helping me, and look at me coming in as a freshman, or look at me coming back as a sophomore or a junior, and look at the jump I made, because I was playing at a level that might in some times be higher than what we are. And I learned all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a valuable case study for us, because we're in a pretty rich market for soccer.
Absolutely.
And we built the team as our gift for you guys to have that, and for the next crop of people to come up and use it as a springboard to what's the next thing for you.
I mean, your gift that you made is a gift to us, too.
Right.
It's everyone's gift.
Right. It's soccer.
It's soccer.
Soccer's a gift. Thanks, Jeremy.
Soccer's a gift.
We talked about that too already. The soccer Yoda with his positive soccer feedback.
His one-liners.
His one-liners are incredible. But I think too that I always want to like hammer home that we bring you guys in and we afford you this opportunity that we love to be part of, but it's also not going to hold you back from going to the next level. And we're doing everything we can to help you get to that next level, whether it's with advice on how to even start to think about playing at a higher level, or in some cases, is the school I'm at the right school? Am I playing? Like just personal advice that we're offering, because we have that encyclopedia of soccer knowledge within the community we've brought together. It might not be me having experience that tells you. I might have that because we play a similar position and are similar body types.
Yeah.
I got a few more pounds on you right now, but I'm working it off. I'm trying to get fit again.
Yeah.
But it's like someone like Jeremy can say, I'm a college coach. I might be at a Division III level, but if you want to play college soccer at the higher level, he played it at Clemson.
Level.
He can offer you one thing, the players, so it's really interesting. And I really like to hear that, because I'm talking to some high school players about what they want to do next. And they're good players, and we don't have a lot of spots open on City anymore, because we're afforded the awesome opportunity to have a lot of guys come back and telling a high school kid, like, this is valuable for you. You will not find this anywhere else. So knowing that guys like you and Goose, specifically the two younger guys that played the most, you're the case study. You're not only the first captain, you're one of the first case studies.
Youngest captain.
Heard
it here first.
Wore the patented Stegman armband. Okay, so
Fell off my arm.
it did. You hit the weight room. Hit the weight room a little bit. We'll get child sizes for next time.
I'm not that small anymore.
Wait, you're lifting weights every day.
I'm 19 now. I'm a big boy.
Yeah. You're able to vote and buy lottery tickets.
Buy cigarettes.
But we don't condone that, kids.
Not at all.
So close your ears. All right, so that's all we have. Now on to the infamous speed round.
Here we
Here's how it works. 10 questions. You have to answer the question before you go to the next one.
Okay.
I will wait you out. I'm a very patient individual. First thing that comes to your mind, and then we'll move on. I will have to also put the caveat out there that 8 of the 10 questions were written by Nate before he went to some child's birthday party, and I have 2. So we'll go through them.
Okay.
And then you have to pick out which 2 you think were mine.
All right. We're making 2 games out of it.
Kind of an 11th speed round question.
I like that.
All right, so as I offer everyone, do you need to stretch? Is there anything you need to prepare? Some water? You need to go to the bathroom?
I meditated before I came here,
Okay.
so I'm good.
Good. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, number 1. Name 3 famous Steves. Go.
Steven Gerrard.
Okay.
Can I call Steve Nash?
Yep.
Steve Buscemi?
Okay, there we go.
There's 3.
All right, 3. What member of the Avengers would you be?
The Avengers.
Clearly a Nate question. He's such a nerd.
Such a nerd. Not really even familiar with too many Avengers. And say like Captain America?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be Captain America.
Because you were the youngest captain of
City.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah. You're Captain City instead of Captain America. I mean, start out slow, then grow up to Captain
I think
America.
Elder would like to be Captain City. But
Yeah. Well, he's yeah.
He is Captain City.
He is Captain
I'm
City. Technically, Trey was Captain City. Now
Yes.
Elder's Captain City. So, anyways, number 3. Let's talk midfield. Scholes or Cesc Fabregas?
Scholes.
Pogba or Vidal?
Vidal. Busquets over everyone.
Okay, so Busquets over all of them. All right, I was going to ask Scholes over Vidal.
Scholes. Vidal's a destroyer. I'm not a destroyer. I'm more of a Scholes.
Scholes is still a destroyer too, man. He's my guy.
It's a different sort of destroyer. It's a 5'9" destroyer.
All right, so again, you can probably guess whose question this is. Do you watch Steven Universe?
My brother does.
And if so, what's your favorite crystal gem?
My brother watches Steven Universe.
Okay,
but I do not.
Does he have a famous crystal gem? You ever pick up any?
Call him and ask?
No, there's no phone a friend,
so I can't do that. So I have no
so
idea.
what type of gem would you prefer? If we're talking geology.
Yet again, I'm not well versed in gems, nor am I a big fan of gems.
So just think of a stone. Just any answer maybe that. Like maybe like what does a clam produce?
I could say like rhinestone or something.
There you go, rhinestone.
There you go.
All right, rhinestone, favorite
I don't
gem.
care.
We would have also accepted amethyst, garnet, lapis, peridot, or pearl. That's where I was going with pearl.
Totally know what those are.
Yep. So clearly not my question.
No.
Who's the player you watch and think, I'm going to try to play like that guy? We already talked about Busquets, but maybe who's another one? And maybe not even Scholes. So is there someone like is it Ben Wexler?
I mean, I get a lot of shit from my teammates also because I watch a ton of YouTube videos on players, like their touch-by-touch videos. And the two guys I probably watch the most, three guys I watch the most are Busquets, Xavi, and Xavi Alonso. So those three. But if I'm talking city players, I wish I played like Ben Wexler.
Wexler's
Pulls the strings.
It's just a unique player. Okay, so this leads into the next question. Who did you play with this summer that really impressed you? Maybe you talked about Wexler. Maybe let's move to a different one.
Really impressed me. I'd already played them, but Sam Forsgren's a baller. I'd played with him at MTA. He was a bit older than me. Nate Engel, I didn't know too much about him, obviously, and I think he's a really good center back. He impressed me a lot. So did Elder, goalkeeper, fabulous goalkeeper.
Well, I only asked for one, but we got three. So
I couldn't choose.
This episode is really groups of three, and you're just coming in, so you don't really know that. You'll hear about it. It'll make sense later. Would you rather reverse one decision you make every day or be able to stop time for 10 seconds a day? And why?
Can you repeat it?
Would you rather reverse one decision you make every day or be able to stop time for 10 seconds once a day?
Reverse a decision?
Yeah, why?
You can do dumb shit every now and then reverse it and then not do it anymore.
Perfect. That's all it is. Okay, so you probably don't know this, but better Steve Martin movie. The Jerk, Three Amigos, or The Dirty Rotten Scoundrels?
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, because it's the only one I've seen.
Perfect. I actually inserted that one. That's why I like you, Steve. Best soccer moment.
Best soccer moment.
Yeah.
Captaining City.
Captaining City. Well, okay, that's perfect. Who are you most, number 10, who are you most looking forward to playing with this coming summer?
Like the new guys?
Just anyone.
I'd say Whitney, because you hear a lot about the guy all over Twitter. And obviously he did well in the Open Cup, so it'd be pretty fun to play with him.
It's pretty easy for a guy like you to send a long ball to space, and he'll go get it.
Probably do something with it.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so out of those questions, any of the two that stick out in your mind?
I know which ones Nate wrote.
Yeah, but the two that you think I wrote.
The two questions you picked out, I would say you love Scholes, so I'm going to say let's talk midfield, Scholes or Sess, Pogba, Vidal, and best soccer moment.
Okay, I actually surprisingly had the Steven Universe. No, I'm just kidding. I had the Would You Rather, because that's kind of my thing, and then yes, best soccer moment. But the Scholes one, I had a little influence in that. He had a different player in there, so it was like whatever.
Who was it?
I forget. A lot of things going on in city headquarters today.
Not important.
Not important. All right, so that's all we have today. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming in. I know you're back home. It's probably good to be back home a little bit, but appreciate you coming in. I'm really looking forward to you another year at City and hope that we continue to help you grow that next step this summer.
Yeah, thanks. It's great to come in the airwaves for a bit. Talk to talk to Johnny.
Yeah.
I'm really glad to be home. Excited to go back and play with City this summer and see where that takes me.
Yeah, we'll be training in a couple weeks.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Like a week and a half.
Strap the boots on and play some football.
And maybe I'll bring some shoes and play.
Don't.
I'm just going to do it now because you said so.
So that's about all we have for today. Covered a lot. But hey, it's holiday season. And what better excuse than gathering around a crackling fireplace with your loved ones, thinking about which gifts you are immediately going to exchange when you get home. And and you want to partner that joy with some wonderful summer winter ale. Suck down a few of those dogs and elevate your holiday cheer. Available at your local liquor store. So go down, grab a 12er or more. Seriously, buy some more and enjoy your time off of work. Memberships for 2017 are now on sale. And I can't think of any better Christmas gift. You can still get them, even though Christmas is just right around the corner. So don't be a dummy and forget to get yours before the price goes up at the stroke of the new year. 50 bones gets you a season pass, a fancy little membership card, which you get to keep, which is pretty sweet, as well as the new membership scarf and the opportunity to make what we've created your own. And of course, so much soccer this summer. And don't forget, if you're trying to balance your books, I'm looking for a few more places to toss some of that sweet tax-deductible charitable donation money. Consider Minneapolis City. We're a 501c3 charity that does good on and off the pitch.
Hey, and John, I have one request for the listeners before we get into what our emails are and our Twitter. And just so you know, this will be, of course, our last show of the year, and so we won't be talking to them until next year. And I want to hear, just like you asked for some of their gifts that they've been happy to give, or that they feel that Minneapolis City has given, and they've been happy to receive. I want to know what the listeners' New Year's resolutions are for soccer, whether it's getting more involved with City, whether it's what they'd like to see City do, or what they would like to do to get more involved with City. I think we'd love to hear more from the listeners about their soccer resolutions for 2017.
Absolutely. And if you do want to get a hold of us, you can always do so through email at mcscpodcast@gmail.com. Probably the number one pipeline there. You can hit us up on Twitter with the club at MPLS City SC. You can find myself at Johnny Business. That's 2 N's, 2 Z's, 2 S's. Or you can hit Nate up at Mexinate. I know he got that tweet deck open often, so might as well fill it up.
I'm a writer, so I'm at my desk a lot.
Yeah. So that's all for this week, folks, and the year. We'll be back in 2017 with way more City sauce for your soccer sandwiches. So don't miss us too much, and we promise to be back and better than ever. I'm John.
Hey, I'm Nate.
And it is freezing outside, and there's snow on the ground, so how could we not leave you with little Go Get 'em Tiger singing about a nice Minnesota winter? Enjoy the holidays, folks.
See you next year.
Feliz Navidad.